To the demo of the UiPath RPA training. This is Shibaz, and let's start with the training. So before starting with delving into UiPath, what UiPath is and what is UiPath used for. So basically, UiPath is an RPA tool which helps us to automate all the robotic fixed tasks. All right. So what is RPA? To understand RPA, let us split the RPA into two parts. The first one would be a robotic process and second one would be automation. So what is robotic process? Any process or work that is definable, repeatable, and rule-based. So whatever process which has a fixed number of steps and a fixed number of rules, that we can call it as a robotic process. If you look at an example of a robotic process, every day, suppose you have a fixed job to do when you wake up. When you wake up, what do? You brush your teeth, you take a bath, you have a breakfast. That is a robotic process. Every day you do that. In terms of technology, if we look at a robotic arm, what a robotic arm does, it has fixed set of movements, fixed degrees to the left, right, up, down, right? So any process that has a fixed set of rules that is repeatable is called as a robotic process. Now, when we see automation, what is automation? What is automation? It is creation of a technology that will help you do your task automatically. Whatever task needs to be done, that we will create a technology for that, and that part will be done automatically. That process will be done automatically. If a process is done automatically, what is it called? A robotic process automation. So basically, RPA is an emerging form of technology wherein we are automating all the clerical processes in the industry, and we're helping the industry in doing that robotic processes or clerical processes more efficiently and in a faster way. So instead of if you look at an example of a bank, so instead for if a worker or clerk in a bank, what he does, he comes every day, opens an Excel, he has some data in that Excel, he goes to their website, he feeds that data into that website, and he approves or rejects that data based on certain criteria. Suppose it's a credit card application, and they have some criteria to accept or reject, the fixed criteria to accept and reject the application. That thing can be done by a robot, and that thing can be done in a more faster and efficient way with the help of robotic process automation. So basically, all the work that are definable, repeatable are being done by robotic process automation. So it is it's a generic tool basically where we create specialized bots, agents, or tasks. In RP terminology, whatever tasks or applications we are creating, we call it as bots. And we automate clerical processes with the help of RPA. Now, if there are any doubts, what RPA is and RPA isn't. RPA is, so when we use the word robotic, we might be using some hardware robots to do the task. Basically, RPA is a software coded bot. RPA uses software coded bots in order to do all the automation. There is no hardware bot, and all the automations, all the processes which are being automated are software processes. When we talk about hardware bots like robotic arm, it has hardware components and it does the part of automating some things in the industry. Now in RPA, everywhere softwares are being used, and in order to automate those software, RPA creates bots, and these are software bots, and all the human repetitive tasks are being done with the help of RPA. Now, currently, what are the processes which are being automated with the help of RPA, or what is the scope of RPA process automation? So currently, we have processes being automated in the financial services industry, in the insurance industry, in the healthcare industry, in the human resources departments, and basically some other. So basically, what I would like to explain here is all the tasks, as we discussed earlier, that have a fixed set of rules that are repeated on a daily or a monthly or a weekly basis or hourly basis. Any tasks which have fixed set of rules that are repeatable are being automated with the help of RPA. So if we look at the financial services industry, statement reconciliation is being automated. In statement reconciliation, there are some fixed steps which can be easily automated with the help of RPA and which are being done currently in the industry. As I talked earlier, credit card applications, accepting and rejecting is being automated. Insurance claims are being automated because they have a fixed set of rules. Then we have in healthcare, patient registration processes or member billing processes. These are being automated currently. If we see the human resources, all the industries which are currently performing are having a human resources department, and such large is the scope of RPA that it can automate all the human resources, almost all the human resources work. The examples would be onboarding, or changes in setup, or compliance reporting. These are currently being automated with the help of RPA. If you look at the level of interest in RPA and the growth of RPA, if you can see in 2019, this is just an example I've taken. uh, RPA is a $822 million industry, and the growth is very good, and the current opportunities in RPA field are great. The salaries offered by the companies for robotic process automation experts are touching sky, and it's at the current moment RPA is a booming industry. So when we talk about RPA, RPA is basically a cloud, not a literally cloud. It's uh, it has multiple tools. There are multiple tool providers which help us in creating software bots which will aid us in robotic process automation. The top three tools currently in the market are UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism. So among these top three tools, what we are going to learn in this training is about UiPath. Let's start with the introduction of UiPath. So it is one of the industry-leading RPA tools, and uh, the reason why it is being adopted more and more is that it offers a community edition for people to learn. If we look at the other two tools, which is Automation Anywhere and Blue Prism, these are strictly enterprise tools, and you won't be able to get a community edition in these two tools. So if we talk about RPA, there are three main products which are being used by developers in RPA, or basically RPA provides three main products. The first one is the UiPath Studio, second is the UiPath Robot, and third is the UiPath Orchestrator. So basically a UiPath Studio is a desktop application wherein you can create all your bots. It has all the activities which will aid you to create and automate your process. So basically when we create a process in UiPath Studio, we call it as a bot in RPA terminology. Second, when you create a bot in RPA Studio, how will it run? UiPath Robot is a separate executable file that executes all your bots which you have created in the UiPath Studio. So if you run a bot in UiPath Studio, it is the UiPath robot which will help you execute that robot and automate that process without any human intervention. The third one is the UiPath Orchestrator. It is a centralized web-based server, we can say, from where you can monitor all your processes, all your bots. You can manage all your bots in a UiPath Orchestrator. So if you look at the UiPath architecture, it is basically, in simple terms, we can call it as client-server architecture. So what do developers do? Developers develop their UiPath robots in a studio. Once you have developed and tested your bot in your studio, you can publish it into an orchestrator. So basically, Orchestrator is a centralized web-based application you can call in simple terms as a server for in our UiPath architecture. So once the bot is deployed in the orchestrator, the person, the administrator sitting who has the access of the orchestrator can uh, view the status of the bots, can schedule the bots, can run the bots from a centralized single machine. So basically, we have to, if we have hundreds of machines and we have hundreds of UiPath studios in all the machines, and you have to start automation in one of the machine. So you don't have to go, or even if it's a virtual machine, you don't have to log into that machine. Basically, you can just go to the UiPath orchestrator and schedule a bot in the particular machine. So that provides us the ease, and basically you don't have to go and look at the status of bots at every machine. With the help of UiPath orchestrator, you can centrally monitor the status, the schedules of the bots that are running in all the machines. So this is what the UiPath Studio looks like. So it has 6 main components. The first is the activities panel, which has all the activities which will help you automate your processes, the assign activity, the flowchart. So basically, when you create a UiPath robot, it gives you a visual representation of the activities which you are performing. So you can use a sequence to put in your activities. You can put in a flow chart. You can put in a state machine for your process. So it depends on your comfort level. And all the activities which you need in order to automate a process. Suppose if I gave you an example of Excel automation, you can go for the Excel activities. You can open the spreadsheet. You can perform various operations on the spreadsheet with the help of Excel activities. Second one is the main panel. As I said, UiPath Studio gives you a visual representation of the activities which you are performing in your current robot. So if you look at the main panel of UiPath, it will give you a visual demonstration of whatever activities you have created. So in this screenshot, we have a, a read Excel activity. We have a login to part creation. It is a web-based activity. We have another web-based activity, and we are inputting some data into uh, that website. So basically, it's giving you a visual representation of all the activities which you have put in UiPath Studio. The third one is the properties panel. So every activity in UiPath has some property. So if we look at the Excel uh, activity, it has some properties like the path of the Excel, or do you want to perform that Excel activities in the foreground or background. So if we look at the web activity or open web browser activity, what are the properties? The properties would be which browser do you want to open, which URL do you want to hit once you open the browser. So these are just the examples. So every activity has its property, and you can modify the properties from the properties pane in UiPath Studio. The variables are very important part when we create a robot in UiPath. In order to make your bot more dynamic, we have to use variables, and UiPath provides all the types of variables which you can create in a .NET framework. So you can create an int type of variable, a string, a data table, an array variable. All type of variables can be created, which helps us ease the process of development of a bot. The next one is an outline. So outline, the importance of outline is known when you create or when you develop a very complex process. So as I said, in the main panel, you get a visual representation of all your activities. The outline pane gives you a simple outline of all the activities which you're using, and this will actually be very helpful when you have created a very complex bot, and you can just go to the outline and check the sequence of whatever activities you have used. And if you want to modify uh, or edit a certain activity, you can just go to the outline, double click it, and that will be highlighted in the main panel. The output panel is where you get all suppose you want to put in some debug messages, or basically when you run a bot, the output panel gives you the result of that bot. Or if you have any errors, any warnings, any information messages that are displayed in the output panel of the UiPath Studio. So when we look at the top panel, the we'll say the toolbar of UiPath Studio, you have a new button wherein you can create a new process, save your process, or run. If you have completed your bot, you can run it with the help of F5 shortcut key as well. The recording, there are three types of recording that UiPath provides: the desktop recording, web recording, and the Citrix recording. The details of this will, when we go into the details of the recording, we'll get to that. The screen scraping is an important tool in UiPath, wherein you can scrape basically or fetch the data from a screen. The data scraping is a activity wherein if you have to get data from a website where it has some fixed uh, that you can get from data scraping. You can check the user events, whatever click event or mouse move event, that thing you can check. Variables you can create from here, as well as the variables panel. You can manage variables, and a UiPath Explorer. The UI Explorer is one of the main components of UiPath, which will help you in automating or making your processes more dynamic. Basically, it will give you the selectors. So basically, if you don't understand selectors now, we'll get to that topic when we start the training. How the UiPath Orchestrator looks like. So as discussed earlier, we have multiple screens wherein we can see the number of jobs that are successful, that have faulted, that have stopped in between, the number of robots that are currently available, that are busy, the number of bots that are disconnected, the number of processes that are currently uploaded to UiPath Orchestrator. We just have a small video of the capabilities of UiPath. So in this demonstration, we are actually creating a UiPath robot which will fetch the current temperature of the city, which you give it as an input. So first it will ask for a city which you want the temperature, current temperature of. That's it. So this bot will basically create a module wherein this is where we have created a module wherein we are fetching the temperature, current temperature of the city, which we put in as an input. So we can even modify this task. We can put in all the input cities into an Excel file, and we can fetch from that Excel, and it will continuously update that Excel file with the current temperatures of the cities. If you want to automate it and modify it for trading purposes, if you want to get in the current price of a script, current price of a share, current share price of suppose Google or Amazon or Microsoft, that things also you can fetch with the help of UiPath. In order to install UiPath, these are the minimum and recommended system requirements. Basically, you need to have a .NET framework installed in your system in order to install UiPath, a 4.6 or above framework. So when we begin the course, these are going to be our course contents for our training. So we'll be learning about in more details about the UiPath, the variables. We'll be having different sessions on variables, data types, and flows in UiPath, how to manipulate data with the help of the activities provided, how can we create our own activities. The recorders, the three recorders, will be having a look at all the three recorders in UiPath with examples. Advanced UI interface interaction, wherein we'll learn how we'll use the UI Explorer in order to make our process or robot more dynamic. We'll use image and text automation, Citrix automation, Excel and PDF automation with examples, email automation. Final, we'll be learning about how to debug and handle exceptions in UiPath, and then we'll be creating a simple project wherein we'll try to use all the activities which we have learned in UiPath. So and that's it for the demo training today. If you have